Hello everyone, this is Andrema II bringing you yet another edition of By the Book. As you can all probably tell, I'm a hardcore gamer, and I feel I should give credit to a series that has both challenged and inspired me. So without further ado, this is my top 5 favorite Castlevania games. Number 5. Castlevania Bloodlines. This is actually the very first Castlevania game that I ever played. Following two characters, Bloodlines was the first in the Castlevania series to give you the option to change who you play as. However, if you're playing in a fashion that would go with the series continuity, you'd most likely be playing as John Morris, the father of Portrait of Ruins, Jonathan Morris. Bloodlines plays in the fashion of the original Castlevania, with a few influences from Super Castlevania 4. John can use the whip to hit two directions, straight and diagonal up, which he can use to swing from place to place as well on some occasions. Alongside the whip you get the standard Castlevania gear, knives, axes, holy water, and the cross. Also, this game spends no time pussyfooting around. As soon as you start, you're assaulted by monsters and traps which can almost cause instant death. The damage ratio on the Bloodlines is also off the charts. I got hit by maybe 3 bats at most whenever I was playing it, and I was already dead. So if you get hit by anything before you get to the boss of a stage, you might as well restart that level. While Castlevania Bloodlines may be a game suited for the hardcore gamers, I highly recommend it to those who enjoy a good challenge. Number 4. Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. Unlike most games that deal with our whip-wielding heroes, Harmony of Dissonance plays in a Super Metroid fashion. This was first introduced with the series' game Symphony of the Night. Following Juice Belmont, the grandson of Simon Belmont, you go once again to the Count's Castle of Chaos. However, the main goal of Juice is not the destruction of Dracula, but to find Lyde with the help of his childhood friend Maxim. As you journey through Castlevania, Maxim eventually reveals that he is in fact being controlled by the Count and tells you that it was he that kidnapped Lyde and brought her there. At this point, your goal in the game is no longer to find Lyde, but to defeat the Dark Lord. However, Dracula's body has not yet been revived, so there's nothing really for you to destroy. With this in mind, you may begin to wonder how Juice is to defeat the Count. Flashback to Castlevania Simon's Quest as you search every nook and cranny of the castle to find Vlad's remains. Thankfully, there's no red jewel-activated tornado necessary this time around. Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance is a decently challenging game with a lot of influence from the older games in the series. The fact that it was only released on the Game Boy Advance is quite a shame, actually. If you love a good story, the old Castlevania's simple controls and difficulty, or the exploration and mystery aspects from Symphony of the Night, this game has something for you. Number 3. Super Castlevania 4. What can I say, this is a game that defines Castlevania to this day, and while it may be a simple remake of Castlevania for the original Famicom, it contains most of the aspects that are found in Castlevania's games to this day. The control was done perfectly as you could whip in 8 different directions, giving you a full 360 attack range. It also gave you the ability to get onto whatever grappling point was necessary. Jumping wasn't nearly as stiff as it had been in the first few games, allowing you to make minor adjustments while in the air, helping you narrowly dodge those annoying Miss Hell Medusa heads. And the dot art? Oh, it was godly for the time that it came out. As this game starts out, there's this eerie fog creeping across the graveyard, a scene that to this day sends a cold shiver down my spine. As the fog clears, you finally see the start menu, and once you press the start button, get ready for the most immersive of the original Castlevanias as you bowed your way past zombies, bats, skeletons, demons straight from hell, and more. The plot of this game is a rather simple one. Get through all the stages to make it up to Dracula and then destroy him. However, this simplicity is what gives the game its charm in my opinion. Nowadays we're stuck with so many intricate stories that usually end with an iffy ending, and it's nice to get back to our old gaming roots from time to time. All in all, I highly recommend Castlevania 4 to all vampire and Castlevania fans out there. Number 2. Castlevania Harmony of Despair. Castlevania Harmony of Despair is the first of the series to give us old-school Castlevania gameplay with stages designed to have a Super Metroid feel, and online multiplayer co-op to boot. The game plays with a slight arcade feel to it, as you and your friends rush through each of the 8 stages in order to destroy the boss within 30 minutes, taking out as many enemies as you can along the way. Harmony of Despair doesn't have much when it comes to story. However, what little story it has is made up for with the option of playing as 5 different characters: Summer Cruz, Alucard, Jonathan Morris, Charlotte, and Shanoa, each with their own unique set of weapons and abilities. Sadly, there is no Belmont selectable yet, however that will be changed with the arrival of Julius in a DLC that is to be released. controls for this game are rather simple, yet effective for getting the job done, and the graphics have given the game a rather appropriate nickname, Castlevania HD. Yet despite all of the good things within it, there are still quite a few people who consider this game trash because it doesn't follow the direct fashion of the original games or the newer ones. However, this game does blend the best of both game styles together, so to me, our argument makes little to no sense. When it comes right down to it, I have to say that while it may have been a step in a different direction, Castlevania Harmony of Despair is definitely one worth playing. And to those of you who are griefers and disagree, blow me. Number 1. The of Sorrow Saga. Yeah, I know that's cheating, but the two games Arise of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow are two halves of a whole, so I'm counting them as one game. The of Sorrow games follow the character Soma Cruz as he starts off his journey in the year 2035. As he's visiting a shrine that's dedicated to the moon, a lunar eclipse occurs and sends both he and his friend Mina into itself, where Castlevania has been sealed for quite a few years. After arriving, Mina is soon attacked by a flying skeleton and placed in a mystical form of unconsciousness. Soma shortly after is introduced to a man wearing a black suit and calls himself Arkaido, later to be revealed as Alucard from Symphony of the Night. Arkaido tells Soma that the only way that his friend will gain consciousness is if he defeats the Dark Lord, and which will allow them to get back to their own world. Soma agrees to this ordeal and fights his way through the castle, meeting Julius Belmont, Yoko Bendeles, and Grant along the way. During his battle, Soma also learns that he has the ability to gain dominance over the souls of demons and monsters within the castle, allowing him to gain new skills that will help him along the way. After a long, grudging battle through Castlevania, Soma is forced to fight Grant, who believes he is the reincarnation of Dracula. When Soma finally defeats Grant, a swarm of dark energy goes flying into him, revealing for the first time that Soma is the true reincarnation of Dracula. Feeling both shocked and betrayed, Soma confronts Arkaido and asks if there is any hope for returning to normal. He is then told that if he were to go into the other castle that only the true Count can enter, he could fight against the darkness that was building inside of himself and return to being human. With this in mind, Soma fights his way through the second castle and destroys his dark side. As everyone returns to Earth, Arkaido leaves Soma with these words: "For God to be good, evil is a necessity, so there may be others who try to revive the Dark Lord once again." And as you would know it, a year later, a new occult appears to try to force the evil within Soma to reawaken. This is where the second half of the Of Sorrow saga begins, and while it's still a great addition to the story, there isn't much of a difference between the two, with the key exception of the occult trying to revive Soma's evil side. The controls for both games are very fluid and easy to use, and the data of these games are almost equally as good. I gave this series the number 1 spot on this list mostly for the story, which, as you can tell from my very short summary, is full of mysteries. The Of Sorrow saga is the last addition to the Rondo of Blood's timeline thus far, and in the end these two games should be played by all fans of Castlevania. No exception. Well, that's my top 5 favorite Castlevania games, and while I know not all of you will agree with me, I hope that you at least had an enjoyable time watching this video. This is Dream of the Second, reminding you that even the weakest Belmont could take all those pansies from Twilight.